Experience tranquility.
It happens. It's fine. Oh, I could
And
hear.
welcome to the most scuffed podcast in the world. This is the Iris. I am your host, Ski Free Yeti. Joining me today, as always, we have Thuggington from Alt F4, fellow mod. And joining us today as well, we have BethCon2 from Solo Cup. And joining us for the first time is Captain of Gravity. We have Rush. Thank you all.
Hey.
Thank you all for joining me today. We are late on the start time, and I've already scuffed up two things, and we're barely even 2 minutes into live time here. So we best just get this thing going before the train fully goes off the track. And we are going to start off with some recapping some matches from last week. We had a lot of really fun matches, guys. We're going to start off with Gravity and Illusion, and that was Beth's match. Beth, give us a breakdown on that one.
All right. So Gravity versus Illusion. I don't think anybody really saw this match going the way that it did. All of the maps were really super close. It was actually a really fun game to watch. And I think this is the first reverse sweep that we've had this season. Am I right in saying that?
I think
maybe one other.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, there haven't been a lot, but
yeah, not a lot.
Yeah, but this was a really, really fun one. Like I said, both teams played super well. Illusion, they're the king killers at this point. They took down Havoc when they had not lost. Sugar Rush had only lost one at that point, and now they beat Gravity. So even though their record may not show it, they're a team to watch out for. They're pretty good. Little couple of things that from the match that I wanted to mention. Illusion, Point B Anubis had a 3-minute and 23-second hold, counting from the first kill that they got through that. That's insane, and that's what set them up to win that match and kind of set up the reverse sweep on that. So that was really cool.
One fight.
It felt like it was an hour.
Yeah.
God,
one fight, 3 minutes 23 seconds. I'm pretty sure NPC had 2 or 3 bombs during the fight. It was insane.
Oh my goodness, I love it so much.
That's nutty.
I do want to point out something interesting of note real quick about Gravity. So NPC made a statement on the podcast a few weeks back about how teams that are going to get in the playoffs are going to kind of get into, I don't want to say sandbag time, but kind of sandbaggy time. I'm not saying Gravity sandbagging. I can see Rush is right here next to me, so he might have feelings on it. But it's just funny that ever since he said that, Gravity's lost 2 or 3 matches after they were locked into the playoffs.
Wait, what team is NPC?
I think he's Gravity.
Gravity.
Last time I checked,
okay,
yeah,
sure.
he's a tank, right?
Well,
tank for Gravity.
We'll call it sandbagging. We'll go with that.
All right. Fair enough, guys. Fair enough. Just wanted to get that little piece out there for my buddy NPC. We're gonna go to Thuggington here. Thug, you had Harmony and Chaos and Wrecking Crew.
I did. Real good match for Harmony and Chaos. Watching it back, I watched from both sides of the map. It was really one-sided. Harmony and Chaos really kind of flexed their dominance on that. Watching it I feel like it started at a support line and went from there. They ran a Moira into an Ana repeatedly. Wrecking Crew did, and this is not going to work out for you. Running a Moira into an Ana is just not going to work out. I feel like Wrecking Crew's biggest issue is an internal thing. They're all really skilled players. They're very, very solid. But what I'm seeing from that is lack of leadership and lack of somebody there to help the team when they need it. So looking at the lineup, it's they're missing one person every time. Scrub, take your damn trash out. Finish your test, brother. Your team needs you.
Yeah.
It was all Harmony and Chaos.
Yeah, Wrecking Crew is badly needing a win right now. They've moved from a situation where they were about 7th or 8th in the standings, and right now they're in kind of hot water, and these next 2 matches aren't getting any easier.
Yeah.
So,
no sir.
Wrecking Crew needs some big wins here, no doubt about it. Rush, we're coming to you now. It's Liquid Nova and Sugar Rush. Sugar Rush, badly needing to get on the right track here.
Yeah, so Sugar Rush took this one. It was a 3-0 with a draw on Eichenwald. It was actually a really close match. A couple of them went into overtime. Eichenwald and Gibraltar. We got to see Sugar Rush on their kind of staple 3-4 DPS comp that they ran a lot of, which was nice to see something different other than goats or something like that. One person I want to call out actually right now is Specs. He played a lot of Zenyatta on Oasis, and he had some really good positioning. I don't know if he died at all on the first map that they played. It was really cool to see Specs on a Zenyatta. I thought he was more of a tank player. I only had Sugar Rush's point of view for the match, but I think Liquid Nova, like Thug was saying about Wrecking Crew, kind of suffers from the thing where they have all these skilled players, and they can't just bring it together into like one cohesive ball and get the wins that they need.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how much that comes into play, like just having those solid shot calls and those solid just having the instinct to be able to direct your team in a moment's notice is so huge. And I agree with that. I don't necessarily. I think Liquid Nova is struggling with that from the limited I've seen. And good players, but just not quite seeing everything they need to put together.
Exactly.
So I want to say I watched part of that match too, and I just made fun of Moira a little bit ago. But if you watch Sacred Walrus, Moira flex hard carried, hard carried.
If we're gonna keep talking about
playing out of his mind.
Speaking, okay, I want to go back to Liquid Nova just really quick here. They have a support player, but who, in my opinion, it's kind of one of those people who I don't want to say the word, but underrated. Legitimately, extremely underrated, guys. Is Crossfade. They are repeatedly having great players show up in our top 5 plays. They are showing up on some of these, show up on these lists here. They were in the fantasy draft list. We're seeing some nominations coming in for top support for that year-end awards that I posted about earlier. Crossfade is certainly nobody to overlook. And in my opinion, if I look at that team, player is a hell of a good player, but I think Crossfade is the standout for me when I look at what Liquid Nova is doing. So anyway, just wanted to get a shout out there to Crossfade, doing really good work there. We want to move on here. We're going to go to next match is Aimbots versus the Fighting Potatoes. Aimbots got a very needed win on this one. It was a 3-0, pardon me. Fighting Potatoes were missing Mousy, and I think that hurt them a lot. Aimbots is starting to run a lot of bunker comps, and it seems like bunker is kind of becoming a thing right now. I'm sure you guys are seeing that. I talked to some of the Potatoes after the match, and they were basically saying how if they see another Bastion, they're going to uninstall. So it's bunker comps really becoming a thing right now. We saw that in the feature match on Sunday, and I assume we're going to continue to see that. And Aimbots ran it really well. And Aimbots are continuing that really improbable run. They were 4-7. They're now 6-7. Their map differential isn't looking good, so they're going to need wins. Yeah. But that being said, the people that they have to pass have really challenging matches coming up, and we're going to get into that more when we come to the playoff bubble watch later in this podcast here. But Aimbots are coming, guys, and they look like a legitimate threat right now. So we said at the beginning of the season, don't sleep on the Aimbots. Well, maybe we all slept a little too hard. They took down Gravity, they took down Fighting Potatoes. A little bit of a difference between the two there, but same time,
just in the standings. Just in the standings.
I love the Potatoes. Potatoes, yes. Potatoes number 1. Potatoes all day. Potatoes number 1. But yeah, just Aimbots, guys. They're looking really good. I want to give a shout out to their supports on Aimbots as well. Orca and Taifumi are both playing really well, and Just Savage. Speaking of people who don't get enough appreciation, Just Savage is the best. Just Savage is the best player on their team.
Fucking guy.
He's the best player on their team. Just
hands down.
Just gonna say it. They have other talented people, but Just Savage is freaking outstanding.
Savage, dude.
If the team was in a better spot in the standings, we'd be talking about Just Savage up there with Dunzo and Kingdom and Silent Monkey. I guarantee you it. So
it's almost like a completely just because of standings at this point.
Exactly. I feel like standings and
sad.
Lack of exposure. Aimbots haven't had a feature match, and that probably hurts them too. So Just Savage, guys. He's just savage, man. Anyways, over to Thug here.
Got him.
Meta rejects and solo cup, buddy. Go ahead.
I'm sure Yeti's not going to want me to spend a lot of time
Nope,
on this.
we can
and
move
Beth
on.
Would enjoy as much time as possible. This was
How to
putting it
kick
down to
someone from a call.
you're a mod, you can do
I
it.
know, right?
This is a definition of a mental game. This solo cup was mentally more prepared, mentally more ready for this game than Meta Rejects was. And I don't know if it was Kingdom trying to prove a point, being a former solo cups member, having a lot of ties to the team, and maybe he was thinking too hard about it. But this was a mental game. I think Meta Rejects had an off night. I can tell you that probably none of them even want to talk about it at length. It's one of those, and I get a lot of these this season. It's the GG go next. Yep, there's Yeti with the solo cup. Oh, that's a
Rage, anger, fury.
nice. No, but I think it's more showing Meta Rejects isn't a bad team by no means. Solo Cup right now, in my mind, is the team to beat. They are probably the most coordinated team in the league, and we'll see what happens this week with Meta Rejects. But Solo Cup is looking stronger, and I blame Yeti. Yeti is the problem. Why Solo Cup is really good right now.
Yeah, you're welcome. Undefeated since the dab. Just saying.
Thank
Maybe
you,
you need
Shadow
another.
Leader
Maybe you
Yeti.
need another dab.
No,
Yeti.
I'm not. I refilled the cup a couple weeks
Yes,
ago.
give us more power.
No more. You guys, you're too good. You're the best team. You're too good.
But I will say
No, stop it.
there's one thing I do want to point out. I know there were some ping issues with with Horus. I know there was ping issues. I do recall in our match against Solo Cup, there was almost like a DC at a very pivotal moment. So I mean, one time it's odd, second time it's a coincidence. Just saying, if you're playing Solo Cup and you're having connection issues, please message your mods.
Mhm.
It's the power. It's the power of the Yeti dab.
No,
that's
it's the
all
power
it
of
is.
Zuby DDoSing everyone. Anyways. All right. We'll move on here. I don't want to talk about that match anymore. It was a 4-0 for Solo Cup. I'm so happy for you guys. So happy. Omnic Turtles and Otaku. Go ahead, Beth.
All right. So when I hadn't really seen much of this game before I saw the score for it, and I was like, oh, 3-1. Like Omnic Turtles took a map off of Otaku. Wasn't really expecting that. But then I watched the game and it was a lot closer than I was expecting. Like it was very back and forth the entire match. Otaku, as always, looked really dominant on offense, especially dive offense. But any other situation, it was kind of anybody's game, and the Omnic Turtles were hanging with them the whole time. But yeah, Omnic Turtles ran a bunker comp again on Anubis. We saw that a lot this week, and Otaku they weren't able to handle it as well as other teams have been able to handle it. So they dropped that map, but in the end, Otaku is still pretty dominant, and they've still won a bunch. Did want to give shout outs. DPS play, both sides, super duper strong. It was interesting seeing Evo kind of going up against his old team. I'm sure there was a lot of tension on the line, a lot of rivalries going on there. But yeah, the Turtles, honestly, they looked good. They did not look like a 2-0 or 2-10 team playing a 10-2 team. They looked a lot better than that. So props to them.
I also want to give a shout out for the Turtles. Hooks Are Us. Very, very,
Yes.
very good tank. Very good tank.
Yeah.
Good
And the
dude.
crazy thing is he played 10 different characters over the course of the maps he was in.
Nuts.
Like hit scan DPS, projectile DPS, main tank, off tank, main heals, and off heals.
Nice.
I went through and counted because I'm like, wait a second, Hooks R Us I thought he was a tank. He's running out on a Mercy to start out. Like,
Are we playing Sugar Rush or something?
Wow. Well, yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Hooks because Hooks has been a really active part of the community and also plays a lot and plays really well. Like, he's a very good player. So, kind of a nice pickup there for Omnic Turtles midseason. I know they're struggling, but people like that are good people to build a foundation around, especially come season 3. That's coming right around the corner, guys. So, despite this season not working out, next season, guys, do not sleep on somebody like Hooks. So, anyways, we have one more match actually to get to. There was a final match, but that was our good old friends, the Teal Cowboys. They played the Meteors in what I'm sure was a barn burner of a match. But Meteors barely snuck out a 4-0. And now we're going to go to Rush. Rush, you had the feature match. Great feature match. If you haven't seen it, tune into the VOD. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't get to watch this one live, but I did rewatch the VOD. All Dev 4 took this one 3-2. We got to see a map 5 in another feature match. It was really close. I mean, very, very close. Obviously, Havoc, the staple team from season one champs, trying to repeat. Alt F4, I actually got to cast their game against Otaku earlier this season. And I said it then that they're probably the team that was underperforming the most out of any team in the league. Like, I know what they're capable of, and we're finally starting to see it here. On Anubis defense, Alt F4 ran this mean, absolutely dirty bunker composition that Havoc, they threw a lot of different stuff at it and they just couldn't burst through. Stories was playing Widow in that bunker comp, and he got some big picks to help out the rest of the team. I mean, all F4, they're really flexible. Rewatching that VOD, they played Sombra Goats, they played Double Sniper, they played Dive, they played Bunker. Just really showing a lot of different things that they're able to do, no matter what's thrown against them. On Havoc's side, the thing that I want to shout out the most is their alt management. They had really, really good alt management. You could tell that they were having internal discussions and just conversations about when and what they want to do as far as their alts were concerned.
ASMR stream. Thank
Don't
you,
worry about
Ski Free.
it. Sorry. I promised somebody I would do that. I apologize. I was waiting for you to be done. I'm sorry. I didn't want to be rude. All right, so we'll move on here to that's our feature matches, guys. Havoc at Alt F4. Please watch that VOD. It was incredible. Thug's got his whipped the boys in the line, and they've won how many in a row now? Pretty important to win those 4 in a row too. 3 and 6 to 7 and 6. They're in good shape right now. So that being said, we're going to go into our power rankings, and we're going to see, we've had 2 weeks off here from the power rankings, so we're going to see some definite movement.
Yeah, dude.
I'm excited to show you guys where things have been going here. So bringing them up here, the first thing we're seeing is change at the top. Otaku has gone back to the top. Gravity has fallen down after their couple losses here, now being ranked in 3rd. Now we have a new 2nd place team rising up. Who hasn't been up in their conversation the whole season is Solo Cup. Suddenly now, 10-3, looking real strong. Harmony and Chaos at number 4. Meta Rejects number 5. I'm happy with that, but I think maybe we were a slightly bit overrated right now. But you know, the way we've been playing at least. Alta 4 at number 6. Illusion is number 7. Havoc falls all the way to number 8. Meteors at number 9, and we're closing out at number 10 with Sugar Rush. So, guys, a lot of shuffling here. We see Alta 4 rising very quickly through. Nobody's resting on Alta 4 anymore. That's very clear based on this.
Please do it though. Just we're not good. We're trash. We're just garbage.
What sticks out to me when I look at this, however, is Havoc. Like, I think maybe this loss left a really bad stink in the rankers' mouth. Like when they were looking at this rank, I don't see that personally. I see Havoc still as a top 5 team. You know, I think they had a bad night, and Alta 4 had a good night. I don't think Alta 4 is a better team than Havoc. No offense, Thug. But you guys won when
all the offense taken.
Beth, when you see this, what do you think?
You're gonna hate me for this, and so's Kingdom. I think Meta Rejects and Illusion should be swapped. Hey, you asked for spicy takes. I'm giving you spicy takes.
That's fine. You got spice. I mean, we beat Illusion 4-0, so how's that for spice? I'm just kidding.
That's okay. Yeah, that's strange though, because I guess I'm just sort of thinking about like based on last week's play and things. Illusion just took down Gravity.
I know. Illusion should be. I mean, the rankings are all over the place right now because I feel like there's so much parity at the top. You know, like, I mean, I can sit and meme about Meta Rejects right now, and I think I'm going to all night. But like, there's so much parity. Like, teams like Havoc are ranked 8th. That's insane. But here's the thing.
Yeah, that's so nuts.
Like, and I thought you're probably going to agree with. I'm sure you guys. I don't know how you guys feel about what I'm about to say here, but you look at anybody in those top 8. Any one of those teams could beat any one of the others.
Yeah. Any given Wednesday, dude.
And it's not even like, oh, they might, and occasionally, you know, it's not. But it's not even like that. There's not going to be a really 100% clear favorite. There might be favorites, but there's not going to be like a huge like, oh yeah, tilt it obviously in the favor of this team. I don't know, Thug. What do you think?
I'm looking at it and I agree. I think the hard part and we're going to touch on it later is, you know, top 5-6 teams are there. There's maybe 1 or 2 teams that I'm looking at like, okay, these are scary teams. Maybe 3. I look at Otaku and I look at Solo Cup as 2 very, very scary teams. They're clicking when they need to. But everybody else, like I said, any given Wednesday, one of these teams can jump up and beat another one. And I look at our match against Otaku. I mean, there was a lot of like, yeah, sorry guys, I love you, Thug, but you're going to get your ass stomped. And 3-1. And it's like, oh shit. And you see other things where you have other teams that are going to get their asses kicked. All of a sudden flip a script. Solo Cup, prior to you dabbing on them, was low-key garbage. And
high-key garbage.
High-key garbage. And
they weren't going to make the playoffs the way they were playing.
No, and that's what I love about this. This season feels so much different than last season. This time last season, we had teams quitting.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had teams that are like, it's not worth it. We're done.
Yep.
And it feels different this season. It's just a testament to everybody else. Yeah.
Rush, what do you think?
Havoc's number 3.
Whoa. Still kept them number 3, huh?
Yeah. They're the defending champs. I mean, they lost a game against Alt F4. Alt F4 is a good team. I mean, like Thug said, any team can beat any team, but Havoc has Nerdables coaching them. They'll be fine. I'm not worried about them.
I don't disagree with any of this. And I'm going to tell you this right now. So at the very top of the power rankings, it was unanimous. Every voter picked Otaku. I'll say that first and foremost. So unanimous number 1 was Otaku. After that, it was an absolute clusterfuck between basically 2nd and 8th. Like,
yeah.
I literally had ballots ranking Gravity as 2nd and Gravity as 8th. And I had people ranking Solo Cup like 7th or 2nd. And like, we were all over the place between, and then basically from there it was Meteors and then Sugar Rush and then Wrecking Crew and then Aimbots all kind of in the same jumble as well. Mm-hmm. So I think the parity's insane right now, which is going to be exciting because playoffs are right around the corner. And speaking of playoffs, you guys like that? I like that transition. That was good.
That was a
nice
spicy transition.
Good, guys. I'm doing good. We're talking about the playoff bubble now a little bit, guys, and we're gonna come right in with our bold prediction based on this. And we're looking at this. We see kind of the standings as they sit now with records and map differential. The key thing that sticks out to me here is a couple of things. First and foremost, you see Aimbots, who's on that little winning streak right now. They have a very, very bad map differential. They have a map differential at -8. That's a very rough map differential. It hurts them severely when it comes to whether or not they're going to be passing Wrecking Crew and Sugar Rush. They basically cannot tie. So yeah, it's Aimbots has to pass them. Now, am I saying that's not possible? No. I think the way they're playing and the way their schedule is shaping up, they very well could. Wrecking Crew has a very difficult schedule coming up right now. They still have a very difficult schedule ahead of them.
Who are the next 2?
Wrecking Crew in the next 2 has, I know this week is, I'm pulling it up right here, Gravity. And then the match to follow that is Solo Cup. No, not Solo Cup, sorry. Who is that playing? I know they have a challenge, and I know they have another challenging match. I can't recall who it is off the top of my head here. I don't have it written down.
Either way.
Yeah, either way. I mean, they can't lose any right now. We look at where Aimbots are. Aimbots have Illusion. Illusion is a good team, but we've seen them being inconsistent at times. Mm-hmm. And then we look at who Sugar Rush has. Sugar Rush has Havoc. Havoc is coming off a rough loss.
Oh, they're gonna be pissed.
And Sugar Rush needs a win, and they need it bad. So we see right now, we see Wrecking Crew up against Gravity, really tough match. We see Havoc up against Sugar Rush, or Sugar Rush up against Havoc, really tough match. We see Aimbots against Illusion, again, tough match. But of the three, what looks most winnable? I don't know, guys. I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. We are coming up to the last 2 weeks, and I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think? Who are we going to be seeing as the last two teams who are not going to make the playoffs? Because 1 through 5 are in. 13 through 15, y'all are out. Sorry. Who's not going to make the playoffs? Name 2 teams. And I'm going to start here with Beth.
Oh, gosh.
Thank God.
This is a really tough decision because everybody's so close and everybody's so jumbled together. For my first one, I think I'm going to say Wrecking Crew. Wrecking Crew isn't going to make it. They've got a tough schedule coming up. They've had issues with gelling. I'm going to say that they're not going to do well the next 2 maps and they're not going to make the playoffs. That's the other one that I'm kind of thinking about. I almost want to say Sugar Rush. They've got a couple of really tough maps. They don't have the hardest schedule coming up, but they've kind of been like, they started off really hot and they've sort of been underperforming here and there since that. So I'm gonna say Wrecking Crew. I'm gonna say Sugar Rush.
All right, Thug, what do you think?
I'm Wrecking Crew and then Aimbots.
You got Sugar Rush sneaking in there?
Sugar Rush is sneaking in, and mainly because it's the team that's gonna I'm gonna say it because they play us at the end. And we're not gonna let up. And yeah. Sorry. I think looking at it, Aimbots has the harder schedule. It has 2 teams with Illusion and Alt F4 that are fighting for playoffs. So Aimbots has a tougher schedule. Then you look at a team like Sugar Rush, who has Havoc, who's coming off a rough loss. I know a loss that probably they weren't very pleased about. And then they have Fighting Potatoes. And that to me is an easier schedule than Illusion and Alt F4. Just strictly based on schedule. That's why I don't see them. But I don't see Wrecking Crew making it. I mean, I watched their VOD and like I said, it's a lot of really talented players, but Gravity Illusion, again, if Gravity just doesn't throw, I mean, maybe.
Sandbagging.
I'm so sorry. Sandbagging. My fault. And Illusion, again, another team that's working to get in the playoffs. Aimbots have the harder schedule, so I can't see them making it. So Wrecking Crew and Aimbots are out.
All right, Rush, what do you think?
It's really close. So Aimbots have Illusion, and then who?
Aimbots have
Illusion, then Alt F4.
Yeah, then Alt F4.
Then Alt F4. I think. One second.
It's so hard. This is stupid. Can we just say
I think Muses and Alt F4 are in. And I think after this week, Aimbots are going to be in 10th. And then I think it's going to come down to the last week. I think Wrecking Crew and Sugar Rush are going to lose this week. And then I think Sugar Rush is going to end up taking the last spot.
I think for me, it's going to come down to, because Aimbots have this week, they have Illusion. And I do see an upset there. I think Aimbots is going to take down Illusion. And then following week, if I remember correctly, I think they don't do they have the Teal Cowboys?
Whom?
Renegades?
Meteor?
Or not?
Who?
Or Aimbots.
Aimbots, no. Aimbots don't have Renegades.
Oh, no, they have you. They have you. They have
Renegades played Liquid Nova and then Havoc at the end.
That's right. Havoc is the last week bye. So here's the thing. I see actually it's going to go one of 2 ways in my mind. I see Aimbots winning this week, becoming in 10th. Sugar Rush and Wrecking Crew both losing, and I think it's going to come down to week 12 or week 15. I think Aimbots loses last week, Alt F4, and I think Sugar Rush pulls out the win over the Fighting Potatoes, and that's what gets them in. I think that is going to be the tipping point here. God, it's so close though, guys. And I could see all 3 teams losing this week.
This is dumb.
Yeah, it's hard.
Why can't this be easier?
Y'all are making this really challenging. Like seriously.
That aimbot's Alt F4 game the last week is going to be insane.
Yeah, it could be
another
huge.
feature match.
It could be huge. It could be insane. Like seeing that match, like, because if Alt F4 loses this week, next week is very important to them.
Who does Alt F4 play this week?
They have
Potatoes.
The potatoes.
Potatoes.
We'll talk about that later. We're gonna move on, guys. It's the playoffs. We could talk about that literally all night because there's so many scenarios flying right now, guys. And look, in general, chat, we're talking about it a lot. So, like, chat, let's go potatoes. I'm with you guys. Trust me.
I love
Dark
the
horse.
potatoes except Wednesday. I hate them.
All right, so we're going to move on here. We're going to talk about some things. So we spend a lot of time talking about good individual players, but Overwatch is a team game. Overwatch is much less about what individual players do and more about how teams work together, how the teams synergize. If they didn't, then Orsted and Velzen would win every match. Granted, they do win a lot of matches, but that's not the point. It's all about team play. Team play will win out in this game 9 times out of 10. And so what we want to do, rather than acknowledge who is the best individual player, we want to talk about each team's lines on their team, their support lines, their DPS lines, their tank lines. Who has the top in each of those departments here? Sure, we're going to hear some interesting takes here. Each of the analysts here, they all had different things. And we're actually going to be starting off with our supports. And that was Rush. Rush had a top 5 here, and we'll have him break that down for you right now.
Yeah. So bringing up my list here. Scuffed.
It's all right.
Oh, you got the graphic.
Yeah, it's on
up.
the graphic as well.
Okay. So I'm going to start with number 5. I have Havoc. I just think as a collective group, they're very, very strong. They have Budgie, Paraspark. They have four support players on that team that are all really strong that they can sub in and out. And they all make an impact on the game. 5, I have Harmony and Chaos. We know about Shadow. We know about Cav. They've been talked about a lot this year, and they deserve the recognition that they get. They're very strong support players. Meteors, I actually have, because of Rise, hands down the best support player in the league. I think that's pretty much unanimous at this point. And they have Ironic and some other players that can flex to fill in those positions. Alt F4. We have Resident Thug.
Stop.
We also have Mixed Ready and Tim Oho.
Timoho.
Mixed Ready doesn't get talked about enough.
Reed.
He's great. Season 1, he was a Moira main, and I just remember him making lives miserable because nobody knew how to play Moira, and Mix would just be super aggressive, and nobody knew what to do.
DPS Moira. Still is.
Absolutely. And then number 1, Otaku. I don't think a lot of people think about their support line when you think about Otaku. We know about Smugs, we know about Yojack, but some stellar support play too. Flufflepuffs, best name in Tranquility League. Hybrid, Panda, Pixel Rocket. When I was casting the Alt F4 Otaku game, I watched Hybrid 1v1 O Stories in the back line. Sorry, O Stories, you're my man, but got to say it. And yeah, that's my lineup.
All right, so we're going to pass it on the circle here. I want to get other people's opinions on this. I think Thug is taking a very important phone call. I think it's the president, so we'll leave him to that. So we'll go to Beth. Beth, how do you feel?
I mean, I just want to say Solo Cup has 5 supports on our team. So. No, I agree with you for the most part. I feel like there's a lot of strong support players in the community, and it's tough because a lot of them don't get talked about. But I feel like you've picked a really good lineup, and I feel like, I feel like you've got pretty much everywhere where I would have put them. So
I'm going to go with a bit of a biased take here. And it's not the Meta Rejects.
Oh boy.
It's not the Meta Rejects. It's the Fighting Potatoes. Fighting Potatoes is a team that's made up of primarily support mains, which is both good and bad. But I look at how good that team is on their support line. Their support line is never the problem on that team. Like, the core is one of the best offensive supports I've ever played with. Very, very smart Zenyatta player. Really good as well on the Brig. Very strong Brigitte player. And then Sneaky Kittens as well is one of the better Mercies I've ever played with, and she's also a fantastic Ana. And she also pulls out an occasional diva. Then you just go, what? Like, put some respect towards the Fighting Potatoes is all I'm saying when it comes to their support line. Because if I look at that team and I look at what has helped them actually be competitive in some of the matches they have been competitive in, it's that really strong play from their supports. Captain Wessels as well is probably one of the better Moiras in the whole community. People meme about Moira all the time, but again, really strong Moira player. I'm just saying, guys, Fighting Potatoes, I have a lot of respect for that team, and their support line is what makes them relevant. Thug, welcome back. Hope it was important.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, the Valiant called they need a better support player, so I told them to call Mix Ready.
It's wise. I would call Mix Ready as well. So what do you think
About supports? Are we talking about
sports?
Yeah, sorry, that was real life calling. Yeah, I'm not mad at Rush at all. I think they're all stellar picks, and when we kind of picked these all out, and Rush very quickly took support. Yeti's like, "Oh, Thug's gonna be pissed," and I was like, "No, it's fine. Rush is a support player. He understands. He's not just gonna pick fucking Brig mains like Orsted."
I would have put Gravity #1 if that was.
I know, because of Orsted playing Brig the whole time.
Because of himself. He's a support player.
No, but I think it's. I have no qualms at all.
All right.
I have no words for the first time ever.
I know. I am stunned by this.
Sorry, my whole equilibrium's all messed up. I gotta work on them. I'm like, oh god,
have a drink. Hello? Bring yourself back up.
Hello?
Here we go. All right.
Just real quick.
Oh, yeah.
I did not rank Gravity because there's no way I wouldn't be biased. So just throwing that out
It'd
there.
be a shame if somebody was biased in the top 5. Now we're gonna go to somebody who I'm sure is also unbiased. We're gonna go to Beth on the tank lines.
You all are gonna hate me. You're gonna hate. Okay, I have justification.
It's okay. So Beth, why don't you go ahead and tell us your top 5?
Okay. So number 5 was a really tough choice. Okay, there's a lot of really good tank players in the league. It was a really, really tough decision for me to do all this. So the people I was considering for number 5 were the Meta Rejects, Meteors, and Aimbots. All have fantastic tank players. Eventually went with Illusion, Jewish Missile, super great main tank. I feel like their tanks were really a big part of the reason that they have been like the king killers this season. Next I put Otaku, which is probably kind of surprising. Yojak is a really good Winston. However, his Reinhardt, compared to the other Reinhardts in the league, kind of isn't as great. So that's one of the reasons I kind of ranked them a little bit lower. Alt F4 is up next. Silent Monkey has been the reason for Alt F4's success in a lot of ways, in my opinion. He has been a fantastic pickup. In person, Starktastic on the off tanks, they've also been completely phenomenal, especially in person. He really pulled it out last game, and it was easy to see. Havoc is up next. Dunzo is by himself, in my opinion, the best all-around tank in the league. The team kind of wins and loses based on him. And I couldn't honestly, Havoc and Solo Cup were tied 1 and 2 for me right off. I flipped back and forth on them so much, but eventually, even though I'm super biased, I had to give Solo Cup number 1. Light Rose, fantastic main tank. And Gios is really good at off tank. I feel like Gios doesn't get mentioned at all, hardly ever, but honestly, his Zarya is scary good. So yeah, I have justifications. I'm flex, support, and off tank.
What was that last one? What was the last one? I didn't hear you. Quite. Hold on. Say it a little louder.
Support and off tank.
Off tank.
Benjamin.
Yeti, you're muted. So
I'm going to rewind this now for the chat because it was really funny when I said it earlier, and it's so funny now. But I'm going to rewind it here for everyone to see. This is the most scuffed I've ever been. I'm sorry, everyone. You all want the best tank line? It's this one. Wait, no, it's this one. Wait, that joke has already been done, so now it's just stupid.
It's funny to me again.
No. Okay. I'm a tank on that team. And I'm not an excellent tank. I'll be the first to admit that. I am not Dunzo or HQC. But we also have Kingdom. Throw some respect on Kingdom's name. That's what I'm saying.
It was like, okay, it was like a 4-way tie for 5th place. It was between like Meta Rejects was right in that race, and I just had to give it to Illusion because of like just watching their game and recency bias. You guys are great. I love you, Kingdom. I love you, Ski Free. You guys are great. I'm sorry. I hate doing this.
I'm just kidding. I honestly, it's fine. I mean, like you said, the tanks in this team,
It's fine.
The tanks in this community are insanely talented, and we could tear apart each other's top lines here, but honestly, for what it's worth, there's like 8 teams who I could put in the top 5 pretty comfortably. Rush, what do you think?
It's close, man. It's close. It's so close. There's so many good tanks in this community. Like, I mean, I gotta shout out my boys, NPC and Gordy Mac, real quick. I mean, Gordy if Gordy gets to play Diva, he's so good. I mean, especially appealing for his supports. He's a 10 out of 10, especially being a support myself. I know how he can appeal for his supports. The only thing I might switch is I might actually put Alt F4 number 1 with Silent Monkey and Impers. I think that combination of tanks might be the best in the league. The two of them together.
Thug, what do you think, buddy?
I just want to hear Rush talk more. Keep speaking. No, Meteors. What's your problem, Beth? Why do you hate the Meteors? Why do you hate the Meteors?
I don't hate them. I don't
Meteors
hate
in the chat, she hates you. It's confirmed. Have you not seen HQC? Okay, sorry. Gillimed, Kitty Baka. Like, that trio is
hey,
nuts.
hey, hold on. Gillimed. That's why they're not top 5.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah, sorry.
Forgot.
Yeah, shit. No.
Might be.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. You got anything else, Thug?
No, but like, it's nuts. He played on HQC. Played on 4 gigs of RAM. He's doubled it now. He's evolving.
All right, so we'll move on from the tanks. The tanks is the most controversial. I'll say that first and foremost, guys. There's no doubt.
And you guys all made really good points, and I was struggling with all of these questions all week trying to come up with what my top 5 list would be. So
I know, it's all good. I'm only slightly being toxic today, but I'm having a scuffed podcast, so I just kind of
today.
Yeah. We're moving on to DPS, Thug.
God,
we're gonna get a support.
I'm gonna watch Twitch.
We're gonna get a support main's opinion on the best DPS lines in the community.
I play Zen sometimes.
That's okay.
Zen's a DPS.
Kind of.
Yes. My DPS line, and I based a lot of my DPS line on synergy within the team, and it's not necessarily the best DPS play. Look at Rush, just hating. So, God, look at this.
Oh, it's coming.
Yep. So I look at Sugar Rush. They have by far the best DPS players in the league, based on flexibility. God, I can't. Hold on. I can't look at Twitch chat. And I have So Aimbots has a crazy DPS duo of Albatross and Asian Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy
Absolutely.
good. And I say a duo because one plays hit gun, one plays projectile. They work so well together. If the rest of the team could just not be as scuffed, and I've told you guys scuffed about 150 times, we're scuffed. It's not an insult. It's just get your shit together. You guys are so much better than your record shows you, and obviously you're doing it now. But and I look at Gravity, and I'm not counting Orsted, not because he's a Brig main, because Homeboy doesn't show up, and he's not there, so I can't count him. I look at Velzen, I look at Bubbers. They're a fantastic DPS duo. Velzen, in my opinion, far and away is the best player in this league, hands down. But this isn't about the best player. Then I look at Alt F4 because I'm ultra biased and I love Stories and Godspeed and I don't want them to quit, so I put them there. No, but for real, those two are fantastic. We had them in Goat's jail for a long time.
Like a lot
I'm
of
sorry.
DPS for the record.
Right. So I'm sorry. And this is my apology to you. But for me, Harmony and Chaos, number one, without a doubt. Watch any VODs. Their DPS pop off constantly. They are constantly exceeding expectations. So for me, they're definitely number one. God, everyone's so mad at me.
It's the best part about being a podcast host, let me tell you.
And again, this was, and I was talking before the podcast and just in the call. I had like 8 different teams written down, and I'm erasing them, and I'm adding them back in, and I'm racing them, and I'm adding back in, and I'm switching things around, and then I felt dirty about Alt F4 in there, but they're really good, so I can't feel dirty about them being really good, and that's not even counting our people that play DPS because we have, oh my god. And I look at teams like Solo Cup. Solo Cup's one of theirs that was up there too. Meteors is one that was up there too. This was my choice, and I will take hate mail in the form of liquor and lewds. Thank you.
Beth,
18 plus.
Beth, let's tear apart Thug. What do you got?
All right. I can understand what you were struggling with, like, because I was very much in the same boat with the tank line. I feel like people are kind of sleeping on Solo Cup. Again, bias. I'm obviously super biased, but my own 100%. Tank line is first. But I mean, Grumpy Pants and Spooderman, like, don't want to sleep on those guys. Or actually, yes, no, please keep sleeping, especially Gravity and Harmony and Chaos if you're out there. And I mean, Meta Rejects has Horus, who's again arguably one of the best DPS in the league. Makes it, I don't know, it's a tough decision, and I haven't looked at it super closely, so yeah. I guess that's all I have to say. Yeah,
this isn't fair.
Rush, what do you think?
So, can we get the graphic one more time, real quick?
All right, it's coming up right now.
I can tell you.
No, it's
5th, Sugar Rush. 4th.
All right, well, Alt F4 is probably 16th in the league, just behind our friends, the Teal Cowboys.
I was going to put Teal Cowboys in there. I'm not
gonna Stories is in shambles right now.
No, respect to Godspeed and Stories, they're great. But when I think of best DPS in the league, I think of who's forced me on support, who's given me the most trouble and caused me to switch to Brig or Lucio, whatever I have to do. And I have to put Sugar Rush number one. Harmony and Chaos, I think, is a little too high. But we didn't play against Max 6 when we played them. So you put Max 6 in there, who knows what could happen. I think this is a pretty good list. I'd put Gravity a little higher though.
What?
So I will just say for the record that the 3 of them had to pick these top 5. I had other things to do because I was doing all the graphics and all that fun stuff. So I usually take a lighter workload, but man, am I glad I took a lighter workload on this one. Because
so much
you made a good choice.
Because now I don't get the hate. Now I don't get nearly as much hate mail.
I want to point out the only person that didn't get massive hate was Rush.
It's true.
Because it feels support, man.
Yeah, it's support.
It was like, they're all the same, right?
Everybody loves their supports,
man.
Nobody
cares about supports. Everybody just whatever. You're all good. Don't worry. You're all great. We're all happy for you. Yep. Do your little healing thing.
If anybody wants to send me hate mail, you can send it through Zuby. That's fine.
Yeah, send it to send
it to Zuby.
Yeah, if you have any hate about the podcast, please send it all directly to Zuby. Right.
Specifically Zuby.
Specifically Zuby. Anyways, let's go on here. So that's the top 5 lines here. I'm sure you guys will have a lot of takes on that one. When we leave this podcast, I'm sure you'll only hate us a little bit. Let's talk about the All-Star game, guys.
Stop spanning this bug to dispute Thug. Just because it's a dope fucking rhyme doesn't mean it works.
That's a great rhyme. I love it. Oh my god. Who came up with that? Mix ready? Nice job.
Probably.
Dude.
Of course it's Mix.
All right, so let's go on to the All-Stars, guys. All-Star nominations were announced last week, and the initial votes are already pouring in. If you haven't voted yet, make sure you do that. Cav sent instructions on how to do that in every single one of the team chats. So be looking for that information here. Here's the All-Star nominees if you haven't seen it. I'm not going to sit here and read through this list because there's a lot of freaking names. But I do want to point out, if you had any, there's a couple of people who asked, well, what are the ones that had the Tranquility logo next to them? Those are admin picks. So those are picks that the admins chose, feeling that they were good quality additions to the current lineup of All-Star nominations that were on there. The rest of the nominees were presented by their team in different ways. Again, I am not reading it all because that will take me for freaking ever.
Please dictate.
No, I'm not going to do that. My cat is...
Okay, sorry.
I don't know what's going on right now.
It's probably pooping.
There's just more noise than I'm used to down here right now. Oh, it's my wife. Oh, God.
Oh,
Spooky as hell, for the record.
Run away.
Well, that was awkward. Anyways, so I want to talk about the All-Star nominations here, guys. We have a ton of different people, but let's spend some time talking about the people who are kind of those fringe picks. People who maybe aren't the ones who we would go for as our top choice necessarily. Like, if you look at DPS, I think everybody's going to pick Peter, for instance, or everybody's going to pick Velzen.
Who?
Or Horus, or everybody's going to pick Smugs. I mean, those are obvious picks for DPS. I think everybody would agree with that. Supports Arise, duh. You know, like, but who are people that aren't necessarily on the tip of everyone's tongue here when we talk about these All-Stars? And Beth, why don't you go ahead?
All right. So recency bias being a thing, I put Hixaras as one of the ones on my list. Again, like, dude's crazy good. He played 10 different characters in 6 different roles over the last game, and he did well in all of them. I think it's strange that he's listed as, I guess the listings are sort of just based on what you're signed up as, but like, he's a really good flex player. He's made a lot of huge impact plays. We saw like a couple of weeks ago, his Junkrat was almost play of the week. Like, and he's listed as a tank. So don't sleep on him. He's a pretty decent pick, I think. And then the other one I was kind of thinking of was Kitty Baka.
Stole mine.
We should have coordinated.
That's okay.
So Kitty Baka is a really good off tank. It's really fun watching her play. And I feel like the main tanks in the league get a lot more love than the off tanks. So I feel like she should be on people's radar.
Bug?
The two that I think don't get talked probably enough, Kitty Baka is mine. Played against her, and I kind of said it when we did my recap of the Alta 4 Meteors match, is playing against her, you don't notice it because she doesn't pop off because she plays off tank. But watching her play, it's so much different. She's so smart. She plays very, very... She plays, I don't want to say conservative, but she plays a very defensive off tank. And as a support player, I respect that. I respect those that peel for me, and I respect that those that look out for me because I'm squishy. And for me is the core from Fighting Potatoes. And this is not because he bought me a beer. He promised me a beer. He never bought me a beer. You still owe me a beer, core, sir. But the dude's great. The dude, he Fighting Potatoes get a lot of love as a team, but I don't think Fighting Potatoes get a lot of love as individual players. Besides Mousy, sorry, Dimdry. But the core plays a very fantastic. He plays a lot of different support roles at a very, very, very high. Watch some of their VODs. He's rarely caught out of position. He's rarely caught in a spot that makes him exploitable, and he stays alive. And as a support player, staying alive is your number one priority. You can't heal if you're dead. That's for me. That's the core, and Kitty Baka, who is also a fantastic artist.
Rush, go ahead.
So I'm gonna go and support first. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about Taifumi on the aimbots. He's a Masters player, and in our match, I could definitely tell that his play style was a lot different than what you usually see in the league. So I would pick Taifumi for support. And then I agree with you guys. I'm gonna copy your homework for tank Kitty Baka. Under the radar,
right?
But she's good.
So
I mean,
good.
Rewatching some of the Meteors VODs, she creates space. She's good at peeling.
Yes.
And then also on DPS, just quick shout out Emma Rosa on Meteors.
Yeah.
I think that's a DPS that just kind of slowly crept up on people and got better and better each week that went on. So Emma Rosa
Been their best DPS lately. I'll say that.
Fuck,
Daddy.
Did you say underrated?
No, I didn't. I said has been.
Did Rush?
No,
I don't think so.
I think we're okay.
They said it in chat though.
And you said it, Doug. So
you kind of took a couple of mine. I was gonna shout out to the core again. just a really good all around support. Plays on a team that gets a lot of losses, unfortunately. Nobody talks about the core, but they probably should. The other one was Crossfade. I talked about Crossfade earlier, guys, and Crossfade is insane. Crossfade is really good. Player plays support on that team, and I would argue that Crossfade is as good, if not better. I'll say it. I have no problem with that. Crossfade is legitimately, and I think people need to give some respect to Crossfade for what they're doing on a team that has been struggling. Another name that I think probably should be being a little bit talked about a lot more, again, as support, is Mix Ready. I would argue Mix Ready is probably one of the best Lucios in the entire community. Not the best.
Easy.
Easy. You're going to see a little bit of him coming up later, by the way. A little bit of a spoiler for you. For the top plays, we'll be talking about him. He just does these things that You know how everybody talks about how Lucios a lot of bad Lucios get out of position frequently? They overextend a lot.
Yep.
He overextends a lot, but it's like he does it on purpose. Like he
does.
It's like
I swear to God he does.
Because I watched the Alta 4 VODs and I see Mix Ready constantly right in the middle, like right up front, like just booping people, repositioning people, getting environmental kills, putting out some good damage, and just it doesn't make sense to me because I'm just like, well, he's an easy kill. Free kill Lucio, guys. Like, why isn't anybody killing Lucio? Why hasn't anybody killed Mix? Why hasn't anybody killed Mick? Why isn't he not dying? And then I realized that during that time, he's also been completely mispositioning the enemy. He's so good. And I will comfortably say, in my opinion, Mix Ready is at the very minimum second in that conversation for second best support in the community. I mean, Arise is the best, and for me, no offense to anyone else, Arise is the best. I think Mix could arguably be the second best support in the whole community. And nobody talks about it. I'll
agree 100%.
Nobody talks about it.
I talk about him. I've hosted him here. He is sat in this chair. Mm-hmm. I'm experiencing the Mix Ready currently. Mm-hmm. And as captain, I have cussed him out so many times. And if you listen to some of our VODs, it's us swearing at Mix for being out of position. And
I have a quick comment on Mix Ready.
Out of position.
We got a comment on Mix
Ready. It's like Solitary Bird says, he's going to get a boop on Temple of Anubis. He's that type of Lucio that will find a boop kill that doesn't exist, but he'll get it. Sorry, Rush, go.
So I watch Thug stream sometimes, and he was stacking with Alt F4 one day, and everybody's like, oh no, Mix is throwing again. He's overextending, doing his thing.
He did throw.
And then Mix goes and does it. Next thing you know, there goes 3 people down the well. Just Mix doing Mix.
Just Mix doing Mix. But sometimes he looks for boop kills on like Temple of Anubis in comp, and it doesn't exist. So
all-star teams are being voted on right now, guys. If you hadn't had an opportunity to vote, please get your votes in as soon as possible so we can get those teams announced. Again, it'll be the top 6 in each role, and then one player, the next 2 players who have received the most overall votes, kind of as your flex additional players for each team. 10-player teams will obviously have some alternates, I am sure, but we'll obviously tackle that when the time comes. In the interim, good luck to all the nominees. Y'all deserve it for different reasons. And let's move on here. We're going to go to, we actually have 2 weeks worth of top plays. On that same note, send me your freaking plays. I received 5 for each week. I didn't have to choose. I would love to see a few more plays. The event is coming up right here, guys. And remember, when the event rolls out, I have about 8 weeks of skins to buy people. And I will be buying skin. Again, I buy the 2 loot box gift to whoever gets top play nominee. So send in your plays. You're getting free loot boxes, which means you get some of those event skins potentially. So please send me your plays. Don't make me beg. Don't force me to send somebody after you. I have a lot of people who are capable of very dangerous things. Not really, but still. Anyways, let's move on here. We're going to move to the Week 12 top 5 plays. These are from 2 matches ago, starting with Handy Fab from Harmony and Chaos on the on the Reinhardt here, actually, we're seeing a different vantage point. We see a really awesome Shatter taking out 5 and then sweeping his hammer through, taking out the rest of the team. We're going to Mix Ready. Hey, we talked about him recently from Alt F4. Again, one of those boops or one of those things that just kind of makes you question, okay, what the hell is he doing? He's out in front of his whole team. How is that a good idea? But if you notice, he just booped 2. He's in a horrible position, completely out of way of his team, and he's like, okay, I'm good. Never a doubt, never a worry, no panic. Just gets away, makes it look easy. That's just silly Lucio play right there. The comms on that were
swearing at him.
Yes, you are swearing at him in the comms. We see Grumpy Pan here with the 6K EMP. Really sick play here from Grumpy. Doesn't get a lot of the finishing blows, but really he's the reason that fight happened. So, huge play from Grumpy Pants. We have Shadow Fear from Harmony and Chaos. Shadow Fear showing some offensive Ana, and really, I mean, why do you need DPS when you just have Shadow's Ana? Because we just see Shadow completely going insane on Ana here.
Shadow. Sexy, brother. Sexy.
And then we have we have Hooks R Us from the Omnic Turtles, basically sweeping up the floor here on Lijiang Tower. This was a really good match, and Hooks R Us, again, just making some really big plays here, closing out a lot of fights pretty much throughout the whole show, or throughout the whole night. So week 12, top 5 plays. We'll make this quick. Rush, go ahead.
I'm going to give it to Mix. His boop and his escape, that was good stuff.
Thug, let's see the bias here.
It's not it's if you heard the comms and you understand what Mix lives for on any boop map, this isn't the map you get boops on when you play Lijiang, and he got 2 of them. Mix Ready.
Beth?
I'm going to choose somebody different. I'm going to go Shadow Fear on this one at Ana play.
I was actually torn. I was torn between Shadow and Mix, honestly. I really was. Like, support's coming through huge. Shadow just kind of went nuts. It was just like nutty. Normal play normal Ana play dictates that what he did there is absolutely nuts. Like, what the hell are you doing? You're in the middle of the team. There's nobody there to support you. Yet you are just jumping up in the face of the enemy Orisa, just like, hi, I'm your grandma, bitch. And then just dropping, like, it's just like, it's Mix. It's Mix. Like, Shadow and Mix are both just insane. And for me, it's Mix in this one. So, so congratulations, Mix Ready. You are the top play winner for week 12, and we are going to go now to week 13 plays of the week, and we're starting off here with Crossfade, somebody we talked about from Liquid Nova. Yes, and we get to see the fabled Battle Mercy coming in here with taking out the enemy Mercy, follows that up by taking out the enemy Pharah, and then he goes ahead and just like, hey, wait, there's a Reinhardt here. I'm going to take care of that Reinhardt myself.
God, this was so good.
It was so awesome. Crossfade looking slick on that Battle Mercy. We have Godspeed from Alt F4 and that big win against Havoc coming in with some really nice Genji plays. Not even necessarily a blade for half of that, but then he comes in with the blade to finish it off. Really good play from Godspeed, and he's been showing up all season. Looks real strong right now in a lot of DPS. Then we see somebody here, somebody who doesn't have a good taste in tanks. No, is BethCon 2 coming in with the 4K Diva Bomb. I'm one of the people that died, so I hate this play, but really good Diva Bomb there. And then we have Smugs from Otaku. Smugs has shown all season, and this was just a really good play. Takes a 3K here, follows that up with a really good right click onto the Reinhardt, takes out the Moira, almost gets the Doomfist, almost gets a 5K, or almost gets a 6K, but gets a confident 5K and basically does it on his own. And then we have Yojak. Yojak has these trademark flank shatters, it seems. I feel like we've seen a ton of those this season from Yojak.
The masked man himself.
Exactly. The masked wonder Yojak just comes up big with another flank shatter and pretty much takes this map over for Otaku. I just don't know how anybody can handle those kind of things if they got to be able to see that coming with him sometimes, but Yojak looks strong in there. Great flank shatter here. But top 5, guys, let's have a discussion here. Rush, what do you think?
Battle Mercy all the way. If there's a Mercy in the top 5, I'm going to vote for it. Crossfade. That was a great Mercy play.
All right. Thug, go ahead.
I want to give it to Smugs because he's handsome, and that was a fantastic play, but There's a Mercy in the top 5. Guys, there's a Mercy in the top 5. Yes, Crossfade, Battle Mercy. Go on.
Beth?
I was kind of torn between Crossfade and O Stories, just because O Stories, like, that's the reason they got that point.
Godspeed.
Like,
Godspeed.
Godspeed. I'm sorry.
Oh, Godspeed getting slighted.
I'm
He's back in
sorry.
bird jail. I'm gonna tell him right now.
Godspeed. I'm sorry. I got your Alt F4 DPS are just both so good and they're so like equal with each other. But as a former one trick Mercy, I gotta give it to the Mercy play.
Right? Oh god.
There was actually a couple plays on the top that didn't get cut. That did get cut for top 13. So those of you crying in the chat, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Let's. So we have 2 now for Crossfade. We have 1 for Godspeed.
No, I said Crossfade too.
Oh, you did say Crossfade? So we have
Yeah.
3 for Crossfade. I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
misspoke. I was too busy being ripped apart by Twitch chat.
Your vote doesn't matter,
Yeah.
sir.
I know.
I've got God Stories and O Speed being spammed over there now.
God story, no speed.
I was gonna be going for personally for Godspeed, but I've been outvoted. Congratulations, Crossfade! You win the top play for week 15.
2 supports.
2 support plays.
2 supports. Yes, we did it, boys.
Everybody, please check outside. Make sure hell hasn't frozen over. I just want to make sure of that.
It's Minnesota. It's frozen.
No, it's true. Shit.
And this is the last time 3 supports come on the show.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Basically.
Yeah, who let the supports on?
Technically,
We need to get some DPS on here. Shit. Okay. Anyways, guys, so that's our top plays. Congratulations to Crossfade and to Mixed Ready. Both of you, good job. Last thing we have here, and unfortunately, I don't have predictions graphics. It happened for a very specific reason that I'm not going to specifically call out on the podcast. But Thug forgot to send in his predictions, so I couldn't make the graphics in time.
Okay,
Not
I have
not
a very
specific.
good excuse. I had a very lovely benefit for a friend's barn that burnt down.
Oh, no.
And I was drunk on cider all day.
Oh no!
And then it was Game of Thrones.
None of what? Get your
It's a lot of excuses.
You should get your priorities in order is what you need to do. No, I'm just kidding.
Alcohol and Game of Thrones. Sorry, I love y'all. But...
All right, so we're gonna knock down these predictions as quickly as we can here. We'll have a couple people weigh in on each one. We're gonna start off with Illusion and Aimbots. Tight match here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go first here. I'm saying Aimbots. They're gonna pull this one out. I think it's gonna be a 3-1 win. Aimbots. Rush, do you have any feelings about this one?
You know, originally I had it 3-2 Illusion, but I'm going 3-2 Aimbots. I think it's going to be very close, and it's going to come down to map 5. But I think Aimbots is hungry, and they're going to want it. So, Aimbot.
Bug, what do you think?
3-2 Illusion. Mainly because I don't want to be wrong in predicting them in the finals.
That's right. You still have that going for you.
I still got it.
Beth, what do you think about this one?
3-2 Illusion. It's going to be a really close game, but Illusion's looking really strong right now, and they're coming off of a big win.
All right, so we're split on the panel there. Next one here, Fighting Potatoes versus Alt F4. This is a clear 4-0 in my opinion. I'm not going to say who's getting the 4-0, but it's a clear 4-0. Alt F4 is winning this one. I'm sorry. Alt F4 is just looking too good. Fighting Potatoes, no disrespect to Fighting Potatoes. I love them, but the Alt F4 is just a train that isn't stopping for anyone right now. So Alt F4 wins this one. Beth, go ahead.
4-0 Alt F4. Alt F4 is looking really good.
Look, I know you're feeling good. I don't need to get opinions from you here. Don't tear apart my potatoes.
This full disclosure, Potatoes is the best team in person in all time. Hands down. I would know from experience.
Over your own team. Toxic.
I mean, Stark is okay, but fuck the rest of them.
Rush, go ahead.
4-0 Alt F4. I mean, I think Potatoes can take a map or two, but Alt F4 is really strong right now.
All right, we'll move on here. Next one is Gravity versus Wrecking Crew. This, for me, is interesting because Gravity... What's the term you're using?
Sandbagging.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are you familiar?
I've heard the term. It's come up once or twice. I'm personally still gonna go Gravity here. I think it's gonna be a 3-1, but I think Gravity takes it. Rush, I'm sure you're probably feeling like you want to get it back on the right track here this week a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 weeks we're sandbagging. So, but I mean, I think we'll be okay. Like, I'm not gonna pick us to lose this match, so we're gonna win.
Bug, what do you feel?
3-1 Gravity. Stop throwing, please.
uh,
For my playoff hopes, please stop throwing.
Beth, what do you think?
No promises.
3-1 Gravity. They're going to be wanting this win coming off of last week.
All right, next on the list here, Havoc and Sugar Rush. Massive match for Sugar Rush. Desperately needing this win.
God.
It's going to be Havoc and a 3-1 for me. It's just, I don't know if anybody wants to be on the receiving end of Havoc after what happened last week. I think the people that I would be particularly worried about in that team right now is Dark Requiem and Courage. For the love of God, watch out for them because they are spooky. They are so spooky. Yeah, Dark Requiem and Courage are so good, and they're going to be coming really angry this week. So
Yep.
Havoc for me is it's 3-1 Havoc. Sugar Rush, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm thinking 3-1. Beth?
I said 3-2 Sugar Rush on this one. Havoc is good. They've got solid tank play. But Sugar Rush is good too, and Sugar Rush is going to be fighting for every win they can get at this point to get into the playoffs. So I've got a good feeling about Sugar Rush on this one.
Doug, what do you think?
I'm saying 3-1 Havoc, strictly based around tank lineups. I know Nerdables is pissed about all of what happened against Alt F4. So I expect him to do a little more prepping. I know they had a long tournament before our match too, so I feel like things are just going to be a little bit different for them. And watch out for Courage. Homeboy's pissed.
And Rush, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with Ski and Thug on this one. I have Havoc 3-1. I think it's going to come down to the tank line, and I think Silent Monkey might have gotten the better of him last week. I think Dunzo's going to be a little pissed, and he's going to come back, and he's going to be strong.
All right, so we'll move on here. We have next another match. Actually, this is a match that just features two teams at the top. I'm really excited to watch the inevitable VOD of this match that I will watch because it's going to be very good. Harmony and Chaos Solo Cup. Let's talk about that one a little bit here. For me, when I look at this match, I actually have a 3-1 here, and I'm thinking Solo. I think Solo Cup is on extreme high right now. And I worry in a way that I don't want to say this because I'm afraid I'm refilling the cup again. I'm a little worried because I feel like they might be peaking a little bit early right now. And come playoff time, other teams are going to find their peak, and Solo Cup's still going to be kind of at the same spot. I don't know. Solo Cup is playing really good right now. I take Solo Cup 3-1 here, but like don't take that as me filling the cup for Solo Cup right now because they are just that team. To me, might be a front runner to win this whole damn thing right now. So, Rush, what do you think?
Yeah, I have Solo Cup 3-1 as well. That's not a slight against Harmony and Chaos. I just think Solo Cup's on a roll right now. I do think they're peaking, but I think they can sustain it. And Ski, whatever the opposite of a dab is, that's probably what you need to do to stop it.
I'm just gonna undab it. There we go.
Maybe
Try
just
that
flex on them.
Nobody needs to see that. Oh, Thug, you look mean, Thug. All right. Anyway, go ahead, Thug. What do you think for this one?
I'm calling this one Harmony and Chaos 3-2. And I think this is probably more beneficial for Solo Cup. The loss would be now than it would be later. And I agree with you, the peaking too soon thing. Y'all need some humility in your life. And I think Harmony and Chaos is going to serve that up on a nice, beautiful platter. Go, here you go. Here's humility. Enjoy.
I picture
Because
Cav
I
saying
think-
that.
I think Cav is going to block the DDoS that Zuby throws on you. Yeah, I see a 3-2, and it's not going to be something it's going to be down to DPS lineups, and I see Harmony and Chaos's DPS lineup obviously better.
Obviously.
Leaderman does not count as a DPS as Brig. Just saying.
All right, Beth. I'm assuming you're feeling. How is the team feeling coming into this match?
We're feeling good. We know it's a big match, and we're trying to take every week as seriously as possible. So we're scrimming a lot, prepping a lot, coming up with strats and things, and
It's good.
We're Yeah. Just going to give it our best.
I'm excited to watch the match personally. It's gonna be a fun one. We have Meteors and Omnic Turtles here. Meteors right in the grip of the playoff race, and Omnic Turtles not in the playoff race, but still trying to compete right now. Their team is getting better, and we're seeing that on a weekly basis here. With Meteors, with me, it's always which Meteors team shows up. Like, it's just the weirdest freaking thing. Like, on paper, they should be a top 5 team. How the hell they're not a top 5 team is completely mind-boggling. But they aren't. So I still think 3-1 Meteors, but like, Meteors, you can't blow this one. Can you? That's my question.
Can you?
So, Beth, what do you think about this one?
So originally I put down 4-0 Meteors, but after watching the Otaku Omnic Turtles VOD and preparing for this week, Omnic Turtles aren't a bad team. Like, they don't have the best record in the league, obviously, but they're not a team that you want to sleep on. I don't think it'll be a 4-0 for Meteors. I think it'll be a lot closer than that. Maybe like we'll say like a 3-2 Meteors. We'll go with that instead. 3-2 Meteors.
All right, Thug, what do you think?
4-0 Meteors.
Oh.
And this is specifically on Meteors are geared up. We've unlocked HQC's full potential. And this is going to be Dally's coming up party. Dally season 1 was so good. He's had an off season, and I think he's kind of found that last missing piece, and he's going to unlock it. We're going to see Dally flanking the hell out of everybody. It's going to be scary.
I would agree with
That's
that.
my thought.
Rush, what do you think?
I have 4-0 Meteors. I think they kind of suffer from the Alt F4 syndrome, just underperforming at the beginning of the season.
Got it.
Hopefully they can pull it together. Like you guys said, on paper, like, they're a squad, man. They got so much talent.
Right.
Emarosa, Arise, Red Gear, Kiribaka. Anybody in that team can make an impact. HQC, yeah, anybody. So 4-0 Meteors.
I'm going to mention HQC. Does he look different than anybody expected? That's for me. Everyone looks a little bit different.
The face reveals are pretty startling, aren't they?
A little shocking to me.
All right, last match of the week here, guys, is the feature match, which is tomorrow night between the number 1 team in the community, Otaku, and Meta Rejects.
This is going to be a tough matchup for you guys.
It's going to be a very tough matchup. I'm excited. I'm excited to get another shot. I played them earlier this season when I was on the Fighting Potatoes. I'm excited to get another shot to take them on. So we're hoping to bounce back. That's all I'm going to really say on it. And yeah, it's going to be a fun match. I'm really excited to play against Otaku again. We'll go over to Rush.
I have 3-1 Otaku in this one. I think it's really gonna come down to whoever has the best game between Peter and Smugs. Whoever outperforms the other there, that's going to be the key to this matchup.
Doug, go ahead.
Real quick, I want to address something. I'm the same person all the time. There's rumors of me being a shapeshifter. Those are false. Please do not listen to rumors from anybody on my team. I am not a shapeshifter.
That sounds like something a shapeshifter would say.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I'm going to say Meta Rejects 3-2. I think Meta Rejects kind of identified some issues internally, and I feel like they have Otaku's number right now. Yeti's got it. He's watch out. Oh, there are the goats. There they are. Hello, go. 3-2. Meta Rejects.
Beth, what do you think?
I have 3-2 Otaku. Meta Rejects is going to be coming off of this hungry for a win. Map differential kind of favors Meta Rejects. It's a lot more Rhine than dive. And Otaku is a very strong dive team, but they haven't shown the same strength on other comps. So it's going to be a close one. And yeah, the Smugs versus Horus matchup is going to be really interesting to watch.
I'm really excited for this week's matchups, guys. Playoffs are just right here, guys. It's going to be, and I almost knocked over a plate, but it's going to be exciting. It's going to be way better than the Scuff podcast was tonight for me, your host. Really, one last thing here, guys, before we end the podcast is I put out the request for nominations for the end of season awards. Some people have asked, well, where's the MVP? MVP is being determined by the top all-star vote getter, just like last season. Last season's top all-star vote getter was Orsted. So he was MVP last season. This season, we'll see. All-star votes are still coming in. But if you want to get your nominees in for those 11 categories, please do so. Get them to me as soon as possible. I will be announcing the nominees for the end of season awards during the postseason extravaganza bracketology podcast. Where after
Keep going, that's hot.
I know, right? It's such the title. It just came to me. It just came to me in a dream. But we'll be having our big podcast where we break down the playoff bracket, and that's where we'll announce the award nominees, and we'll post the polls for that. So if you have nominees, please get them to me as soon as you can so I can get that all sorted out as soon as possible. But on that note, I don't think we have anything. Oh, Beth, you were working on a map thing. The map thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maps.
I'm doing a map, like where in the world is Overwatch Tranquility Community. I'll post the link to the poll again right after the podcast. Basically, I'm just collecting where people are from, putting a bunch of red dots on a map so we can see kind of just what states and provinces are represented by the community.
Yeah, it's cool. And it sets up, like, the meetup was one of the coolest things I think we've done as a community in general.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and like, and not only that, like all this freaking swag I got. Like, I got a Gravity logo sitting up here from somebody who didn't show up to the Minneapolis meetup.
Who's that?
And-
Was anybody named Rush?
No, it wasn't anybody named Rush.
Don't know that guy.
I don't know that guy. I don't know him because he didn't show up to the meetup.
I want to mention one more thing about the map. If you put your like pin on the map in the first one, that one locks after 100 people visit it. So this is a Google poll. It's a little bit different. So if you've done it before, you kind of have to redo it.
Good call. I completely forgot to mention. We should definitely do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I do have one last thing to mention on
go
my
ahead,
part. Yeti is as good of a hugger as he looks.
Now I want to drive up to Minnesota and hug Yeti.
I am the best. What can I say? Rush, do you have any final notes since everybody else has chimed in with something?
I'm just wondering if we could get an oldest player in the league award, because I don't know who that is. It might be a guy with a bald head. I'm not sure.
I think it's the cue ball.
I think it's going on a limb here, but
it's not Spooderman.
It's
not Mr. Clean.
Definitely not Spooderman. It's definitely NPC.
Thicker than a Snickers.
Wait, what?
That's you. You're thicker than a Snickers.
Oh, yeah, it's so true. All right. On that note, guys, enough of this craziness, enough of the shenanigans. The podcast is over, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning into the Iris this week. And for Beth, Thug, and Rush, and for everyone in the Tranquility community, we will see you next week. Good luck in your matches, everyone.
Experience tranquility.